Good morning and welcome. My name is Michael Gramlich. I'm an assistant chief with Sioux Falls Fire Rescue. I'm currently serving as the manager of Metro Communications. At Metro, our vision is first to serve. It shows up every single day, whether we are the first voice you hear on the end of the phone when you need help, or whether we are the first link in a public safety chain that serves this area so well. It has been a pleasure the last year I've spent at Metro learning how they work, how they are such a vital part of our public safety team, how they contribute and have impact, making our corner of the world such a great place to live. As I'm working through this, I want to make sure that everybody can see over here when she comes over. I'm going to introduce the person, I guess, our team member that everyone's so excited about. Come on over. I'm going to introduce Nina, the newest member of Metro Communications, along with her handler, Kara Michelson. Nina joined our family out at Metro a few months ago. She's been a great addition to our team, had a lot of impact on the way that we interface and the way that our folks see their job. She has really settled in well at our new public safety campus on the north side of town, and we just wanted to make sure we got a chance to introduce you to her. She's here today to help us and the team announce that we'll be opening applications for our Metro Communications operator position. Those applications will open April 8th of this year. You will also see that will go live online, online at siouxfalls.gov/careers. Starting there, we will be excited to have these new team members that can come in and work alongside Nina and the rest of our committed dispatchers and operators up at Metro Communications. It's a dedicated, hardworking team. They're equally committed to serving this community, and we're truly looking forward to the next batch of folks that want to come up and be part of this amazing opportunity. With that, I am going to introduce Amy Chase. She'll be talking more about what it's like to live and work at Metro.
Good morning. I'm Metro Communications Administrator Amy Chase. I've been with Metro for 23 and a half years, and I've had the privilege and opportunity to hold every role within our organization during that time period. So it truly has given me a unique perspective on learning what it takes to have an impact in our community. When our community calls 911, we're the team that answers, and I'm so incredibly proud of our team and the dedication that they bring to their work every single day to connect the community to the care that they need. We're very excited to have Nina with us as we share more about our organization and opportunities within Metro. As you can imagine, work in an emergency communications center is high stress and fast paced. She definitely brings some levity and some light to some intense scenarios, so we're very happy to have her as part of our team. As Mike said, we are first to serve, and we're often the first point of contact when people have an emergency. Starting on April 8th, as Mike referred to, our application to join the City of Sioux Falls as a Metro Communications operator will open. You can access that on siouxfalls.gov/careers. And really what we're looking for are individuals who feel called to serve and have a passion for making a difference in our community. We answer emergency calls for all of Sioux Falls and Minnehaha County and dispatch all of the responders in that area. At the city, we invest in our public safety team. We offer a competitive pay and benefits package with overtime and additional pay opportunities are available. And we do provide a comprehensive on-the-job training. We don't require any additional or previous experience. We really have a building block approach to our training where we can learn and develop skills both in the classroom and in a real-world environment. In addition to the employee assistance programs, employees with Metro also have access to other support opportunities. Those include the chaplains program, a peer support, critical stress debriefings. Nina is with us full-time now, which is amazing. We also have phenomenal workout facilities and a beautiful campus where our staff can get out and really enjoy the fresh air. Work at Metro will challenge you, but you will be supported, and we welcome everyone, and we can't wait to meet you. Thank you.
right, good morning. I'm Becky DeWitt, CEO with the Great Plains Zoo and Butterfly House and Aquarium. Wanted to have this opportunity. We gave you a ton of information yesterday, and because of the depth of the information regarding the expansion of the zoo, the development plans, as well as just knowing that we wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to ask questions, we felt this was necessary this morning. So thank you for being here today. Lots of good feedback related to our plan. So it's really for you to ask questions.
I know you don't have details about
Yeah.
the cost, but can you give us some idea of, maybe the first phase cost?
Yeah.
Or the whole cost? And then break it down into, like the private fundraising, that's part of this.
Yep. So the total cost of the entire plan could stretch upwards of $150 million. What becomes very difficult with looking at that far out of 15 years is frankly just cost of construction can change, cost of materials may change, as well as inflationary impacts to the value of the dollar. And so that's why we have this range. It's really a range of 120 to 150 million. So starting with phase one is where we can dial in those costs. And so as we look at phase one of this plan, we're targeting between 40 and 45 million, and that's for specifically the education center, the aquarium expansion, as well as the butterfly rainforest. And as we look forward to fundraising for that, we are looking at private capital campaign, looking to leverage some public dollars related to hopeful involvement of the city of Sioux Falls, and so leveraging private and public dollars to make this a reality.
With the city of Sioux Falls, there's already a certain amount of funding. Can you talk a little bit about, do you expect that to increase? Is that specifically for the capital, or are you going to need some increases for operations?
I think it's better for Don Kearney to address the city's budget.
Good morning, Don Kearney with Parks and Recreation. Yeah, the city does anticipate participating in the master plan build-out, really targeted towards this initial phase that Becky had talked about. So we've got $3 million that we've identified in our 5-year capital plan, realizing that, it's going to take a series of years to be able to build out the campus in this initial phase. And so that's what we currently have in our plan, and we'll continue to work on our updated 5-year capital plan and work with Becky and her team and their donors to make this project a reality. And the other thing I'd point out is that typically, if there's a private donor that steps forward, there's an expectation of a certain amount of match from the city that would go towards the project, just to show that everybody's got skin in the game in making this project a reality. So we're excited to be part of it and look forward to the master plan becoming a reality.
You just mentioned 40 to 45 million, 3 million from the city is the plan right now. Is there a goal for, you talked about match, but is there a goal to say we would like 50% to come from private donors or 75%?
We're in the early stages related to developing the campaign strategy. So at this point in time, we have built out our team that we know will be required for this fundraising effort, because this is larger than anything the zoo has taken on in the past. We recently conducted a feasibility analysis with a hired facilitator who has AFP certification. And so at this time, I don't have all of that known because we're just working through the process of developing the strategy currently.
I'm just going to keep. One of the things brought up was, the diversity of your revenue, where attendance will increase the revenue. Is this going to require some changes to admission or tiered admission, those kinds of things, or?
Yeah, we are looking as part of our business planning a tiered structure of admission rates, and it's more so looking at a seasonal tiered structure so that we can price appropriately based on our seasonality relation of that operation. So as our operations in the summer during peak season versus off season, and how we can structure that pricing. Nothing that will be implemented at this time. It would be implemented when we bring the aquarium online.
Okay. And then looking again at admission, I could pay to get into the admission and maybe not go through the whole zoo. Has that been worked out yet, or?
I would like to have one flat rate, I think, so that you can just pay, go to the zoo, go to the aquarium, spend a half a day, but not structuring it so there's one rate for the zoo, one rate for the aquarium. It would just be one flat entrance fee to be able to see all of that together.
I'm sorry, you're going to probably have to repeat the part about the seasonal too, because
Yeah.
you say like a seasonal admission price or a seasonal,
More so as
month.
seasonal discount is a best way to look at it. So when we look at the off-season operations, we may adjust pricing accordingly because of off-season operations.
this is the largest for the zoo. Have you had interest already from private sources and people, willing to get on board to fundraise at this point?
Yes, we've, through our analysis that we've been doing and some donor interviews, there's strong interest in the project. A lot of people are excited to see the future of the zoo. They look at the impact to the quality of life for our community, as well as, of course, our youth and the tourism impact of this project. So it has been met with a lot of enthusiasm at this time.
And this is for Don. What does the city need, or in terms of assurances that this is going to be feasible, this is going to be viable, we're not going to invest in something maybe that's going to get halfway done, or, yeah.
Well, I think to a large extent, we've already got that information. The presentation yesterday from Canopy really spoke to the business planning piece of this. One of the things that you don't want to do is build this new attraction and then ultimately find out that it really is going to be hard to support financially on an ongoing basis from an operational standpoint. And so the nice thing about what Canopy has done with the business planning, with the merger, the proposed expansion, has shown that it's going to be a positive operational impact for the zoo. And so that's certainly the number one thing that we're concerned about, but also know that, there's all this, the spin-off economic development that was talked about yesterday as well, that this is going to be great for our economy, but it's also going to be great for our quality of life here in Sioux Falls. So,
Can you both go into some details about the economic impact, because that was touched on yesterday, but I want to make sure that it's not just in the construction, but you're also seeing that as ongoing.
Yes, so when we look at the cumulative economic impact, which was in that slide that would have been shared with you, is the cumulative impact of that, the total dollar amount. You have the direct spending impacts related to zoo operations as well as zoo build-out, so there is a large component of construction within that as part of the consideration. But then you have the total dollar, which includes the indirect impact. So as we hire more contractors to do these types of projects on our campus, obviously then that in turn creates an organizational economic impact for that contractor. And so there's a trickle-down effect that does occur in terms of indirect impact. But when we look at the direct impact, one of the most positive things related to our economic impact study would be the fact that we are a regional draw. And so people are willing to drive a distance to come to our destination. And that's not something that you see everywhere in our nation. A lot of people don't have to drive distances to have these type of experiences, but because of our rural setting of South Dakota, it's actually to our advantage that we have people willing to drive 90 miles, 120 miles to be able to come and see what we have available here in Sioux Falls. You see, I'm sure, a similar type of trajectory with even just shopping in our community. How many people come from a distance to shop in the city of Sioux Falls because of their access to different products? And so that's unique to our rural setting.
So when you talk about that, can you maybe say what figure are you looking at for that direct and then the indirect, so to speak? Is it the 300, 500 breakdown, or tell me?
Yes, I don't have the slide directly in front of me, so vet my numbers, but it was a little over 300 million that we had for direct, and then it was 548.5, I believe, million for the total economic impact, and that is over a period of time. So we're looking at 2022 through 2031. So it is cumulative impact of all those years together.
And you talked about it being a draw, 90 miles, 120 miles, and the economic tourism benefit. Does this mean you will be partnering with more marketing or doing more marketing, or how will that change?
Definitely marketing is a huge component as we look at building out the usership of the zoo and the aquarium in the future. However, I would say those are business plans and strategies that we still have yet to discuss and define and determine. We're at the very early stage right now of this is the concept of what we're looking at for the master plan. Phase 1, we have what we have identified within phase 1, but the design work has not totally started yet for all of that. We're in early stages of the design work, so it has it needs to be vetted out through the process of our due diligence of going from concept design to detailed design to schematic design. And so all of that just simply takes time.
Final approval, so to speak, of any design or before you can start construction, that involves the zoo, but also the city. Does the city have to sign off and say, yep, this can go?
Yeah, our typical process for any master planning will include Parks and Recreation Board recommendation that will come, probably midsummer, but also ultimately the master plan for the zoo would be approved by resolution by the city council to get their blessing, to make sure that they're on board with what we're proposing to do, what Becky did a great job of presenting yesterday, and so that just make sure that everybody's in the loop and say, here's the path we're going down, this is our direction, this is our vision for the zoo, and just want to make sure the park board and city council are fully supportive of us embarking on that journey.
And construction would be hopefully start in 2025, 26?
26 contingent on funding.
Okay.
Yep, so we have to fundraise all the dollars that we need for the project. So this probably gets a little granular, but as part of our relationship with the city of Sioux Falls, when we take on these large capital development projects, we provide the funding for that project at the time that the bid is awarded, so we need to have money in order to make that happen.
Fully funded before you can start.
Yes, or at least financed. But even with financing, we work with the city of Sioux Falls, and they have approval if we chose to get a construction loan while we're fundraising, especially as it relates to having pledges being received, because as we work with our donor community, it may take 3 to 5 years for a pledge to be realized, and so it's also bridging those cash flow considerations for the project.
So,
One other thing I wanted to touch on quick to your earlier question with the city of Sioux Falls is we're intentionally having participants from the Parks Department in the design and discussion. And so as it related to master plan, we had, I think, 5 to 6 people involved from the city in the master planning process, both in the core group as well as we expanded the group to a larger group when we had very specific questions related to operations. And then I do work closely with, what's Tori's title? Park Development Specialist as we are working through designing different projects. So they're a part of that process to make sure that we're in that lockstep and understanding with one another through our partnership agreement.
I've brought it up with you before, and I think it was brought up a little bit at the end yesterday. I'm going to ask about the Delbridge collection. I don't think that's necessarily that space that could be their placeholder is in phase 1. Somewhere along the line, is there a decision that has to be made on that sooner than maybe it would actually be built? Does that make sense?
It does, and I think at this point in time, we're just working through the due diligence of the working group so that we can provide all the information needed for making an informed, educated decision for the future of the Delbridge. And so we have the placeholder available as an option. It may not work in terms of the phasing for the rest of our master plan. I do look at the Delbridge as being additional to the master plan. So while it's identified in our master plan, certainly that's something that we're treating maybe a little separately than the rest of our master plan goals.
And that would include the possibility of any money needed for that
Correct.
separately, in
Yes.
addition.
Yep. And those prices are still being determined, which again has to go to the working group for that decision-making process. And so we are working on gathering all that information currently for the working group, as well as any other potential options that may be available for the future of the Delbridge Museum of Natural History. Good? Hey, thank you. Do I need to sign off or anything?